Oscar Mayer's Lunchables is one of the most popular prepackaged foods that kids bring to school or is provided by the school lunch program. Consumer Reports has now found that there are elevated levels of lead, cadmium, plastics, and way too much sodium in some of these products. They're actually now calling for a ban. So let's talk about it. Hey everybody, it's Dr. David. Hope you're doing well. For those who don't know, I'm a board certified pediatrician in Tampa and spend a lot of my time talking about clean food, clean water, clean air, clean supplements, healthy lifestyles. Now, today we're going to be talking about this recent report from Consumer Reports, the magazine, the watchdog, if you will, about some very concerning products in not just the Lunchables, the specific product, but there's some similar products as well. We're going to talk about the company's specific response. Kraft Heinz is the owner, the corporate head of the Lunchables Oscar Mayer's program and what they have to say about it. But we're also going to talk about ways that and things we can do to keep kids safe. Okay. So first of all, we have to acknowledge that how many Americans are feeding their kids is certainly less than desirable and sometimes, frankly, hazardous. And I realize that a lot of this has to do with availability. We know that there are underserved populations that are not able to access good, clean food. We know that they can't afford it because a lot of times the more packaged foods, these are the cheaper foods, and organic foods and fresh foods are more expensive. And this is a big part of the discrepancy that we're seeing almost in a class-like way in our country, where, of course, everybody should be allowed to have clean water, clean food, healthy foods in order to be the best that they can be for our children. I would think that our children deserve at least that. Okay. So, of course, parents are also overworked. And so the ease of having prepackaged foods as opposed to a homemade food, whether it's leftovers from the night before, if we have that, or just preparing food, that's also going to be very challenging because it's more time consuming too. Um, but on top of that, we know that just overall, most kids do not get enough fresh fruits and vegetables. Frozen are better than none, but of course, fresh is being best. Most children are being exposed to pesticides in their foods, especially if they're not eating organic. And many of our kids are eating ultra processed foods, foods that have words that we can't even pronounce on there that are very chemically based. And that can be a problem. And some people would even question, is that really food? Even if it has some nutritional value to it. Okay, so now Kraft, as an example. So, as I said, Oscar Mayer's is the division that makes obviously the hot dogs and other things as well, but they make Lunchables, and their overall the head corporation is Kraft Heinz. Okay, so in terms of like what we're feeding our food, as some of you may know, Kraft's their most popular food is called Kraft Slices, and as you know, it's in the cheese section, but it's not actually cheese. The FDA refers to this as a pasteurized, processed American cheese food. Now, to be actually called cheese in the first place, there has to be at least 51% real cheese. Kraft Slices and other similar products, they don't meet that criteria. They're actually less than half as actual cheese. Okay. The Lunchables themselves, there are 49 million families per year. Not numbers sold, because obviously many families are using this throughout the entire school year, summer camps, etc. But 49 million families per year are purchasing the Lunchables in particular. Now, and even more so, as 21 went into 2022, there was a 21% increase in the amount of sales of these products. So more and more kids are eating more and more of them. And now it's not only the Kraft products. It's not only the Lunchables that are product. There are similar prepackaged products from Target, another company called Armour, that is causing this as well. So it's not just to this one. I don't want to be singling out Kraft Heinz because it's more than just them, but they're the biggest company. They're the ones that people have most heard of and the ones that people are mostly using. So it's fair to call them by name. Now, in terms of these findings by the Consumer Reports, so they checked 12 different product versions of Lunchables as well as these other similar lunches and snacks. And they found that these kids had relatively high levels of lead, cadmium, which is another heavy metal that we don't hear as much, but still a toxic heavy metal, and also way too much sodium. And they all but one of these products that they checked for, so 11 of the 12, also contain phthalates, which is one of the toxins that comes from plastics. It's referred to as an endocrine disruptor. May very well be part of the reason why kids are going to puberty earlier, periods are starting earlier. There's other theories to that as well, but certainly hormone disruptors are not good for fertility. They're not good for development and all of that. So this is a serious problem. And the phthalates themselves have been linked to issues such as diabetes, reproductive health, and certain types of cancers. Now, the National Institute of Health has categorized phthalates in of themselves as detrimental to human health. Okay, so that's what our government's calling it. Now, there were two products that were specifically singled out because these were being sold to school systems as part of the national lunch system, and so a lot of them are being sold in the schools. Okay, one of them is called the turkey and cheddar cracker snackers. Stackers, I think, snackers. One's called the extra cheesy pizza. And both of these had actually more sodium in them than the store-bought, the consumer-bought version. So they checked the ones that you can get at regular supermarket, and they checked the ones that were being sent directly to the schools. And the ones being directed to the schools, for some reason, had more sodium than the other ones, which that's unimaginable. Why would they having two different products? Why would there be more in the kids program? It's ridiculous. Now, the director of food policy from Consumer Reports, his name is Brian Ronholm. He has stated that these products are not healthy for kids to consume, period. Okay. And they have such, he himself in Consumer Reports has asked the U.S. Department of Agriculture to remove the entire brand of Lunchables from the national school lunch program. Okay, now we always want to give the opposite point of view, and Kraft Heinz, they did craft a response. So the Lunchables maker told Consumer Reports that its product meets strict safety standards and added that lead and cadmium occur naturally in the environment and may be present in low levels of food products. And again, that's not what Consumer Reports was saying. They were saying, no, they have elevated levels, foods that are exceeding the California proposition limitations. But here's the other thing. Yeah, it may be in those foods, but what are these companies doing specifically to source raw materials that have the lowest amounts possible of these metals, of these toxins? It can be done. We know that even in the supplement company, the work that I've done with Kirkman Labs in finding the toxins in their supplements, and they reject every raw material that has any traceable amounts of the metals, pesticides, other things in it as well. So it can be done, but it doesn't sound as if these companies are doing that. Okay, so now what can we ourselves be doing to feed our kids convenient but safe foods? Okay, now of course individually, we have much more control, okay? Because, of course, individually we can provide healthy foods for our children. But, of course, kind of as mentioned before, that's only if it's available. That's only if we can afford it. Of course, we can avoid packaged foods in the first place because we know not just that, but the other plastics and other things that are really finding their way into packaged foods can be a big problem, the microplastics, the nanoplastics as well. But here's the thing. Most kids who are on a school lunch program, those are people who are least likely to be able to afford to have the healthier versions, to more expensive versions. Their parents are less likely to have time to be able to prepare them as well. Availability in their neighborhoods may not be as good as in a more affluent neighborhood. Now, as part of this, Consumer Reports has put forth a petition that anybody can sign. So even if your kid yourself is taken care of because of the way you prepare foods, if you do have concerns about how the nation's children are being fed, in the show notes in the description down below, you will see a petition that the Consumer Reports has put out. They're trying to get 25,000 signatures. Last time I looked at about 19,000. Of course, the more the bigger the impact will be. But so you can grab that link. You could fill out this petition saying, hey, you shouldn't be selling these foods to kids. This isn't right. Now, so again, it's a rough situation. Of course, we need kids to eat food. Toxic food, I guess, is better than no food, but should really that be the choice? Should that be where we're landing on our discussion? I think we could do better. Okay. Now, overall, and I know I've been talking about this too. I'm constantly putting these videos out on our Patreon. Some additional information there as well. So, if you want to be part of our health education and choice community, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Hit that like button. Share it with other people. We want to get this information out. If you think that this is important information, share it with other people. And of course, joining our Patreon. Now that we're being more active with that, so if you become a Patreon member, you have access to all my primary care holistic protocols, as well as additional information about specific products that we use in our own household, in our office, that are the cleanest that we know possible, etc. We have our education station there as well. And we just get to do some deeper dives on things over there. And of course, we're always available on social media, so you can find us on Facebook, you can find us on Instagram, etc. So, share, be part of us, and comment below. Tell me what you think about all of this, and whether this is just okay, or whether you're going to do something about it, and if so, what are you going to do? All right, well, hope you all have a great day.